Lightweight bout, Lando Vannata coming in at plus 110. Daniel Zellhuber minus 110. Over under 2.5 rounds, minus 179 for the over, plus 179 for the under. Zellhuber coming off the very disappointing debut against Trey Ogden, where he lost via decision. Lando Vannata, in his last time out, got his shorts ripped off of him against Charles Jourdain when he got guillotined. Not a good look there. But kind of a weird one here because I'm looking at the line. I'm like, Zellhuber was minus 300 plus against Trey Ogden. He's coming in at this one damn near even against Lando Vannata. So maybe they're like, yeah, this guy, it's not that great, but he might still have something, some sort of potential. I mean, he's still only 23, so I would expect him to come back in this one and look a lot better. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a get right fight for him. I think maybe that first fight was just UFC debut jitters. You couldn't, everything you wanted it to be. It just nothing. You couldn't get anything going, and maybe the moment and the pressure got to him a little bit, and he didn't let his hands go, and he let Trey Ogden, a guy who's, I don't want to say he's a bad fighter, but he's not a guy that should go out there and beat Zellhuber in a decision. So yeah, I think Zellhuber goes out there. I think it's going to look like a whole new fighter. I really do. The kid's really talented. We've seen it in the past. He's just got to get his hands going, man. If he can get the hands and kicks going against a guy like Vannata, I think he'll find a ton of success. I think Zellhuber's takedown defense too is good enough to where he's going to keep this thing on the feet where he wants it. Use that reach, use that length he's got, land some big shots. I think this is all Daniel Zellhuber here. I think recency bias is going to tell you that Lando Vannata has got a chance to win this fight. But at the same time, man, that was not the same Daniel Zellhuber we saw in his previous fights at all. Something was wrong. Something was off. I don't expect that to happen twice here. I think Zellhuber finally gets that win and proves he does belong in the UFC.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page. I'm getting that vibe that like Zellhuber is very talented and could come out here and just look like he should be a minus 300 favorite because I think he should win this fight because Lando Vannata, he's been in the UFC for a good minute. I mean, he's got 12 UFC fights. He's fought the likes of like Bobby Green, Mark Jacasey, Jakar Close, Matt Frivola,
Tony Ferguson.
Tony Ferguson was his debut.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he's fought some pretty solid guys in the UFC. He's 4-6-2 in the UFC, so he hasn't had like the most success, but he is more seasoned. And I look at this line, and it feels kind of trappy to me. I don't know. I'm just looking at it. I'm like, is it really a pick 'em? Like, maybe some kind of trap here going on because I think a lot of people will think like you are, like Zellhuber is, and it's something that I really looked at too. I'm like, Zellhuber should win this fight. Like, he just looks, he's younger. He's going to be making improvements. He was undefeated, made his debut against Trey Ogden, lost, maybe somewhat of a bad night for him. He probably comes back in this one and wins. Something's telling me that's going to be like a lot of people thinking. And I just feel like it could be another letdown spot, or maybe he sparks Zellhuber or some type. I don't know, man. Like, I'm getting weird vibes with this one. But I'll take Lando Vannata. You know what? Fuck it. I'll take Lando. Just feels weird to me. So I'm gonna take Lando. Not a ton to like, nothing crazy to like tell you why I'm taking him. I just feels weird to me. It just feels weird to me. I think Zellhuber should be a bigger favorite. And it doesn't feel like a true line. It feels trappy.
It feels like one of those lines too that when the fight's over, you're gonna say, man, how did I not see that coming? Lando Vannata going out there and just sparking this dude. But if Zellhuber wins, it's going to be like, man, how did we not hammer this kid? You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be one of those fights. It's kind of hard to get a read on. I'll be interested to see where the money comes in at the end of the week and what the line does with that. Because if a ton of money is coming in on Vannata and he's not, moving towards that favorite, I don't know, man. It does feel sketchy. It's going to be interesting to see though as the week goes on. It's one of those that I'm not going to touch anything yet until maybe after weigh-ins, until maybe morning of type situation. But yeah, it's one of those you got to wait and see what that line does.
Yeah, and we'll keep an eye on it as the week goes on. It's kind of like what we touched on last week. It's like as the week went on, we kind of got a weird feeling about like Chris Curtis and a couple other guys. I forget what the other one was, but you just get that feeling.
Font and Giannis.
Yeah, Font and Giannis, that's what it was. You just get that feeling like maybe this isn't really what it's all cracked up to be, and maybe the other guys, the value play. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. And ultimately the final decision gets made in the premium place. So get on those.